Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome into the Attack on Titan full red set breakdown. We're going to be breaking down every card in the main set as well as the starter deck, so if you did want to skip past the starter deck and just dive into the main set, I'll have timestamps down below, and yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. But yeah, so the red set's going to be pretty much split up into two decks that you can build. The main deck going to be focused on Eren Yeager and his Titan form, trying to get the Titan form out, and pretty much, yeah, centered around that. And then you have the 104th Cadet Corps deck, which is pretty much focused around all of the soldiers in the 104th Cadet Corps, pretty much board flooding with them. It gives you this really dope feeling with the effects of like playing with the omnidirectional movement and stuff. It's really, really sick, pulling cards back into your hand and keeping them safe. Board flooding as well. Yeah, it looks like a really strong deck. I don't know about the Titan deck, still messing around with them both for sure, but yeah, really, really fun decks nonetheless. And then another thing to mention before we dive into the starter deck officially, I also saw that we are getting 3 different specials, which I've never seen before. Essentially, the starter deck is going to have its own exclusive special right here, compared to the other 2 in the main set that you can pull. Yeah, they've all got their own completely different abilities. So yeah, just keep that in mind. First set we've ever had like this. Usually the starter deck special is just an alternate art version of one you can pull from the base set. So yeah, pretty dope to see. But as you'll see with the effects, there's a reason that they did that for sure. Diving into the starter deck here, we've got our main raid card, one of the best cards that you're going to want from the starter deck, the 4-cost Eren Yeager raid card. He's going to have an ability when played, draw a card, and then active main. If on the front line, you can place 1 card from your life area into your sideline, and then if you do that, you can actually re-stand one of your action points. You can only activate this ability once per turn, even if you do have multiple Eren Yeager raid cards out, just keep that in mind. But still could be an absolutely insane ability to have, especially if it's like early enough game and that one action point restand could maybe even snowball into a final and just getting some insane damage out for you just taking 1 extra life early. This could be really, really strong to see. So yeah, gonna be curious to see how good of a card this is, but especially just with a simple when played draw, not a bad raid card at all. But yeah, 4k BP, and then he's gonna have the raid trigger so you can raid him out of life. Really, really good card all around for sure, especially with all the Eren Yeager raid targets that we have. And then the other starter deck exclusive SR is going to be this 4-cost 2 action point Mikasa. If you have an Eren Yeager on the field, she actually gets played out set to active, and then she's also going to have impact as well. With a draw trigger, 4k BP, definitely not a bad card at all. With the 2 action points, you know, might be hard to run 4 of her, but I could definitely see her being a really nice game ender. You're just throwing out a 4k body with impact. Could be really, really strong. We've also got this really nice looking Eren Yeager. I believe like all the cards pretty much from this Annie afterwards is going to be a starter deck exclusive. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, Eren Yeager, 3 cost. If you have 3 or less life, this character is going to gain 1000 BP. So he's going to be a 4k BP double energy generator on both turns too. So just by being at 3 or less life. Him not having a trigger definitely is not great, but I think the rest of it definitely makes up for a great raid target. And then we've got this 3-cost Armin. When played, if on the energy line, choose one of the following. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 104th Cadet Corps affinity with 3 or less energy among them and add it to your hand, and then place the rest on the bottom of your deck so you don't have to trash for that search, which is nice. Or you can play up to 1 red card with 3 or less energy, 1 action point, 104th Cadet Corps affinity set to active on your front line, and then an effect that you're going to see pretty commonly throughout a lot of these red cards, which sort of plays into the omnidirectional movement, which is really cool. The ODM gear, basically that character gains at the end of the attack phase, return this character to your hand until the end of the turn. So yeah, essentially you get to play a character set active with this character's ability. The caveat is at the end of the turn, they're going to go back to your hand. But as you're going to see throughout red, there's a lot of good 3 or less options. So really, really cool card to see. And then this whole thing where you're kind of board flooding, the only trade-off is they go back to your hand. And just wanted to mention this now, if you do raid on top of a card that is going to go back to your hand at the end of the turn because of an effect, the raid will actually remove that so they no longer have to return back to your hand. So great way to get raid targets out for free too. Really, really cool little thing that they're doing in the red here for Attack on Titan. And then we've got this 2-cost site card here, Cadet Corps Grounds. If you have 5 or more 104th Cadet Corps affinity cards on your field, play this site set to active, and then active main, switch this card to resting, sideline this card. All of your, let's just say, Cadet Corps affinity cards on the field will gain 1000 BP till the end of the turn. So pretty good card. It is interesting that you have to sideline this site card and you also need the 5 others on the field in order to do this, but with how easy it is to like board flood with this deck, definitely makes sense that it is like a higher price to pay in order to buff those cards. But it is crazy that with this you could have a bunch of swinging 4Ks really early on, as you'll see with like some of the other specials from the main set. So yeah, not a bad side card. Add to hand trigger too, so if it's in your life you get to add it to your hand. And then the starter deck exclusive special, 4 cost, 104th Cadet Corps. Choose up to one character on your opponent's front line with BP equal to or less than 1,000 multiplied by the number of your Cadet Corps affinity cards on your field and sideline. So, I mean, this is an amazing special, let's be honest. Most of the time, because they're all going to have this affinity for the most part in red, you're going to be able to take out whatever you want on the field. So really, really strong special. And again, this one you can only get in the starter deck, so keep that in mind. And then some other starter deck exclusive cards that aren't super game breaking, but we'll mention them, of course. 0 cost Annie, no trigger, 2k BP. And then we have 3 cost Berthold Hoover. He has the active trigger, 3k defensive trigger if it comes out of your life. He has 3k BP as well as double energy generation, so not a bad card, but I'll be honest, in the red set we have a few pretty good double energy generating options, so not the most necessary card. And then 1 cost Reiner with step ability, no trigger, but 2500. Not bad, not bad. And then the other cards you can get in the starter deck, but these are just the exclusive arts mainly. Pretty straightforward cards that you're going to be able to get in every set that you've seen before. We're going to have the 0 cost Carla Jaeger. She's going to be the double energy generator if you switch her to resting. Then you have to sideline her, 0 cost. But might not be bad for like the Titan deck because of how big those cards are to play out. 1 cost Haynes. This is actually your bounce back, return a 1 cost when played, or you have to return him to your hand. And there's actually an Armin in the main set that, funny enough, makes this guy more playable for sure. No trigger. Generally not running this card because I don't want to remove bodies, but as you'll see, we're popping abilities with a card like this, so pretty nice to have. 0 cost Armin, when played, draw a card, sideline a card with the draw trigger 1500. These are like some of my favorite zeros to throw into the decks just because draw consistency, you know. And then 2 cost Jean, active main, switch to resting, choose one character on your field and it'll gain 1000 BP till the end of the turn. Great card to have set up on the bench, honestly, especially in like a red board rush deck where we might have a lot of 3Ks consistently attacking. Then this card can become like a 4K or more. More threatening. But yeah, with the active trigger, 2K, not the worst card at all. We'll just try to make room for him as the thing. And then 0 cost Mikasa, the active trigger, 2k BP, and there are raid Mikasas in the main set, so just keep that in mind. Will be a good 0 to have. And then 2 cost Mikasa, this character will be generating 2 when set to active. No trigger, but not a bad card to have if you need the energy generation. Again, though, there are some good double energy generators in red, though, so I don't know how necessary she'll be with a lot of good Mikasa raid targets. And the last starter deck exclusive, again, this and the last few were kind of just exclusive arts. You can pull these same cards in the main set. 0 cost Eren Jaeger, our generic add to hand raid target that we'll be able to raid on top of later, hopefully, if we get him out of life, 1500 BP. And then 2 cost Eren Jaeger with the step ability, active main. If on the front line once per turn, you can actually add 1 card from your life area into your hand, and if you do, he's going to become a 4K, going from 3 to a 4K. With the active trigger, 3k BP for defense, not a bad card. And then again, Eren Jaeger raid target, so not a bad card to have at all with multiple Eren Jaeger raids that we're going to have in this set. And then the final 3 costs, dedicate your heart. If you don't know, choose one of your action points, switch it to active. We'll choose 2 of them and switch it to active. You got to pay 1 though. But yeah, the AP restander. And then yeah, that is going to be the red starter deck. So again, pretty much every card from Annie and on is going to be starter deck exclusives if you guys are curious, whereas the other cards you can pull alternate art versions from the main set if you didn't know. But alright, diving into the cards from the main set. Again, this set's looking really, really cool. Just to mention it, again, basically if you go to the specials, that's where you can really see it, and you can see it with the raids, but you might be able to do some mixing and matching in red. It'll be interesting to see the builds. There are 2 specials that you pretty much got. You've got the Hardened Punch, which is going to be focused around Eren Jaeger and his Titan form, or you've got the 4-cost Omnidirectional Movement Gear special, which is not removing any characters like a normal special does, but instead allows you to draw and play cards out for free set to active. With that, at the end of the turn, return the character to your hand ability. Again, sort of playing into the whole omnidirectional thing, get in, get out. It's a really cool ability, and it actually is pretty beneficial. But yeah, we'll dive into the specials here in a little bit. Let's look at the main cards here. We'll start it with the 104th Cadet Corps deck because I'm personally really excited for this. The board rushing with it, the play style, and again, they just really nailed the feel of the ODM gear with how these effects play out. It's really dope. But the main card from the deck, 4-cost Eren Jaeger. He's going to be a raid with impact, and then when attacking, you can place up to 1 character with the 104th Cadet Corps affinity from your front line to the top of your deck. That is not required, but it could be good because the following says, if your frontline is not full, play up to one red character with 3 or less, 1 AP and the Cadet Core affinity from your hand set to active on the front line, and then that character you play out will gain that ability at the end of the attack phase. Return this character to your hand until the end of the turn. So yeah, what's really cool about this is you don't have to put a card from your field onto the top of your deck, but if you want to use this second effect and you've already got a full front line, you can use that to free up an open slot and get a character out for free. So essentially, he's got impact, and he's also allowing you to get a 5th swing in most of the time. And with how a lot of the rest of the deck plays, you're going to have a lot of attackers. It's really cool. And then he's going to have the raid trigger, so if you wanted to, you could raid him out of life. And again, you're not really losing anything if you do, so not the worst thing. Free bodies, take them when you can get them. 4K BP, really cool playstyle this deck's going to have. And then the other raid that you're definitely going to want to run alongside him in that deck is going to be this 4-cost Mikasa. Raid, when played, if there's a character with Eren Jaeger in its name on your field, choose up to one character with 3,500 or less BP on your opponent's front line, sideline it. Again, raid trigger, so you could raid her out of life and get the when played removal off, which is really nice. Free body and free removal, oh my gosh, with the 4K BP. Now, something I did want to mention, we'll just jump over to this SR here, Armin, who you'll definitely want to put in there because he plays super well into that Mikasa. So as you can see with her, we can only wipe out 35s, but this Armin allows us to aim for 45 or 55s too, which is really cool. 4-cost Armin, when played, choose one of the following. Choose up to one other character on your field. It gains 1k BP till the end of the turn, so you can, again, make your smaller characters swing for more. It does have to be another character, so you can't buff him. Keep that in mind. You can't buff yourself with it. Or, the next time you choose a character with an ability that specifies a BP range, this turn, add 1,000 to the specified BP range. So yeah, so you take that 35 and you instead make it target a 45 instead, or make it a 55 instead, because he's got an active main here. If on the front line, once per turn, activate this character's when played ability. So you can get both abilities off the turn you play him, if you play him on the front line, that is. Play him on the back line, and then the next turn activate this ability. Either way, yeah, you can have turns where you play him on the energy line or do this on the front line. Really cool options to have. You can even have things where you play him on the front line, he's rested, and then you return him to your hand with that Eren Jaeger ability, or return him to the top of your deck, I mean, to play a card set out active. Yeah, the playstyles in this deck is going to be really cool. But yeah, really nice, him allowing you to increase that BP removal range on the Mikasa, as well as when we get to the Titan deck, as you'll see, you can increase the range of these. They have a 2k removal, both these raids. You can remove 2ks, but with the Armin, you can make it a 3 or up to a 4. And they will stack, keep that in mind if you do have multiple Armins. Anyways, great SR card. I think he's going to play well into both decks with an active trigger, 3k BP, and he's a double energy generator. So while he's a 4-cost and playing a 4 double energy generator isn't always the easiest, it is possible, and if he is on your energy line, he can be very useful. And then diving into the raid targets here for our main raids, we're going to have the 2 Eren Jaegers that we went over in the starter deck. The main one to really look at is the one with Step, and then the active main, if on the front line, he can add a card from your life to your hand to make him a 4K. And again, in certain situations, like with that starter deck card, or as you'll see with the Titans, going from 4 to 3 life can be absolutely game-changing. And then diving into the raid targets here, we're going to have the same Eren Jaegers from the starter deck. Main one to point out here is the one with Step, who's a 2-cost. He's also got the active main. If on the front line once per turn, you can add one of your life to your hand, which is really nice instead of sideline. And then if you do, he's actually going to gain 1,000. And again, as you'll see with the Titan deck and stuff, it's actually going to play well when you're at 3 life. So there's going to be multiple benefits to taking life for sure. And to go into your hand is nice. It's like a free draw almost. And then the other Eren is just going to be the 0 add to hand. So yeah, definitely make sure you guys get the starter deck exclusive Eren with the double energy generation. He's going to be a great target. And then our 3-cost Mikasa, who's actually going to be our color trigger for the set. During your turn, if this character is returned from your field to your hand, you may place one card from your hand to your sideline instead, leaving her on the field. So yeah, we're also going to be able to have the option to board flood for free and then leave the bodies there potentially with this Mikasa card. She's the only one that does this, but it's going to be so nice to be able to do that some turns. And then during your turn, if you do have 5 or more other Cadet Core affinity cards on your field, she's going to gain 500, making her a 4K. So yeah, just a great card, raid target as well. I think it's safe to say you're going to want 4 of her, no question. And then the double energy generator when active Mikasa. And then 2 cost Mikasa. This card looks really, really strong. During your turn, if you have 5 or more other 104th Cadet Core Affinity cards on your field, she's going to gain 1k, bringing her from a 3k to a 4k. So yeah, great raid target, great board flutter. Again, obviously, board flooding's one thing, but if we're board flooding with 4ks like this and her color trigger, it's going to be so strong. And then we have a 0 cost Mikasa with the active trigger for defense. And then we've got this Armin card here, 1 cost during your turn. When this character is returned to your hand from the field, you may place 1 red Armin with 1 required energy from your hand to the sideline. If you do, draw 2, trash 1. So essentially, when he returns to your hand with an effect, you trash him to draw 2. So he could be really good, like with the 1 cost to bounce back, for example, or the other abilities to return cards to your hand, in order to get more draws off. And he's just a 1500 so, or 2k. So yeah, really, really, really good option to board flood with and then get extra draws off with. And then we've also got the 0 cost Armin. When played, draw a card, trash a card with the draw trigger 1500. One of my favorite zeros to run generally just to get the deck flowing. And then while the deck is going to be focusing mostly on 3 or less cost cards, this 5 cost Levi could be pretty solid to slap in there and surprise your opponent with. So 5 cost 2 action point Levi. Play this character set to active with double attack. Draw trigger 3500. Again, if everything's going good in your favor and you have the, I don't know, resources to play this card and also do some board flooding, this card looks amazing. Also, you could buff him up with the Armin card to make him a 45 or 5500 double attacker. Yeah, I think this Levi card is going to be great. Obviously, the 2 action point 5 cost might want to keep him at a 2 or 3 at most, but in general, I think he's going to be a great little sleeper card to have hidden in your deck for sure. And then, yeah, we have the 1 cost Haynes. If I didn't mention, when played, return 1 character on your field with 1 or less to your hand in order to play him. If you can't, you have to return him to your hand. He's a double energy generator, though, and again, you can play well with this Armin card with him, so might be worth including him, honestly. And then we've got the 0 cost Krista card. When played, choose up to 1 character on your field. It gains 1k till the end of the turn with the active trigger, and since we're sort of board flooding, more or less repeating when played abilities and stuff, not the worst card to include into your deck. If you're able to play her for free or something, could be beneficial. Who knows? Extra bodies and extra effects when played, and if we're replaying them, could be good. And then we have 1 cost Connie, active trigger 2500. Not the worst looking card, but we might have better options, especially because we do have some choices in the lower cost end category. And then I think this Sasha deck is talking about a food affinity, and there's these Sasha cards. I don't know if the food affinity is gonna have its own deck in set 2 or something. But you know, there is this other mini set here with this card that you might be able to slip in. But will definitely help the other decks, of course, because there's only like 4 of this gimmick card or whatever this affinity is playing into. 1 cost Sasha. When played, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 food affinity card among them and add it to your hand, which is just the 1 event card right now. Place the remaining at the bottom of your deck, and then if you did add a card, sideline a card. No trigger 2500. Again, you're basically playing her to get this card here, which we'll take a look at right after. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see if it's worth it. Totally up to you. Then we've got a 3 cost Sasha. During your turn, if you've used an affinity card with food in it, this character gains 500 and impact, making her a 4k with impact with an active trigger as well. Not a bad card. Again, well, yeah, food affinity. We'll keep our eye out for that. And then we've got a 2 cost Sasha. When played, choose up to 1 104th Cadet Core affinity card on your field. It gains 1k BP till the end of the turn. If you have used a food affinity card this turn, switch this character to active. So again, you could splash in the food affinity card, which is going to be this potato here, a steamed potato, sir. And if you do get the food affinity out, she could help you play into some pretty crazy turns, as you can see here, playing her set to active, getting impact and stuff, and you've got the search for it. So taking a look at the event cards here, I guess starting with a steamed potato. I mean, the card's good. It's just, you know, putting all these Sashas in there, hoping to get it or something. Who knows? Either way, 3 cost, a steamed potato, sir. Place up to 3 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order. Draw a number of cards equal to the number of cards you place to the bottom of your deck with this ability. Choose 1 of your action points and switch it to active. So yeah, essentially, potentially a free draw 3. I mean, again, you have to place the cards first too, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, this could be a really good event card, especially if you are getting additional buffs off of it after. So yeah, as far as what you're going to cut for it will be interesting to see. But I can see this being a really, really good event card for sure, with the add to hand trigger too, so you're guaranteed playing it if it's in life. And then the special for the set here, 4 cost omnidirectional mobility gear. Really, really cool card here. It's not going to be removing anything, but it is going to be helping you with the board flood. So it allows you to draw 2 cards straight up. and then play 2 cards with 3 or less required energy, 1 action point, and the 104th Cadet Core Affinity from your hand set to active onto the front line, and then those characters are both going to gain at the end of the attack phase. Return those characters to your hand until the end of the turn. It is your special, so it will remove if it is in your life, but yeah, really cool card, allowing you to get the board rush going, and again, if you wanted to, you could raid on top of those cards, and you'll remove that ability so they don't have to go back to your hand at the end of the turn. So yeah, you are going to want to make sure if you are running like 4 of these that you do have that Mikasa card, because she's going to be like one of your main sources of removal. But in general, I imagine like your board pressure and your attacking constantly is going to be enough pressure to hopefully force some removal as well. Or maybe even go like 2 of this in like the starter deck as well. That could be a nice little combo. And then some other cards we might have missed. 0 cost Gene. He's just going to be a 2k with a draw trigger. Not a terrible card. He does have the affinity, of course, but yeah, might have other zeros you want to run over him. And then you do have this card that you could have gotten in the starter deck. 2 cost Gene. Active main, switch to resting. Choose one character on your field. It gains 1 KBP till the end of the turn with the active trigger. 2 KBP. Not the worst card, but again, we might have some other options that we want to run instead. And then we have Ymir. This is just going to be our 3 cost double energy generator 3k, who ends up costing 1 less if we are going up against a blue or a green deck. Generally a pretty good card. It goes up in playability when you're going to like a rare battle and you're expecting to see the other 2 colors from your IP. And then yeah, so those cards are going to be the main ones that you want to run for the 104th Cadet Core deck. There are these other cards that we're going to dive into that are definitely more for their own deck, focused on the Eren Yeager Titan deck. Really interesting deck, playing around trying to get these big, huge cost Titans out. So starting it out with the main big 8 cost Titan that you're hoping to play at some point. It's going to be a raid active main. If on the front line once per turn, you can choose a character with 2k or less BP on your opponent's front line and just straight up sideline it. That's where the Armin card is going to be really nice, because you can combo this card's ability in with the Titan and hopefully remove 4Ks with it, or maybe even 3Ks at the very least. And then he's also got a damage 2 I didn't mention, which is huge. And then when attacking once per turn, choose one of the following. You can either give him impact, so impact 1, damage 2, tons of pressure, or you can, if you're at 3 or less life, you can switch him to active. So again, as you're going to see with these Titan raids, being at 3 or less life is pretty solid. So there might be some benefits to getting to that 3 or less on your turn for these abilities. Because yeah, being able to switch this card to active, get 2 damage 2 attacks in is huge pressure. He's also a printed 5k BP, raid out of life if you really do have the energy set up. Hopefully, that'd be sick to see. But yeah, the 5k BP is huge, so that hopefully you can get some blocks off as well. Great card. It's just a matter of getting up to 8, but they do give you some tools to get there. And then we have the other Eren Yeager Titan card here. 6 cost, should be a little bit easier to play out. Raid, damage 2 during your turn. It's going to gain 1 KBP, making him a 5k. And then when attacking, you get to choose one of the following effects. Either draw a card, or if you have 3 or less life, you can place 2 cards from your hand into the sideline. Then if you do, choose a character with 2k or less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. This one seems a little bit taskful, a little bit taxing in order to get off, and you have to be at 3 or less, but you know, could be a great ability to pop, and again with the Armin, hopefully get rid of a 3 or a 4k instead. It is going to have the add to hand trigger, so you cannot raid this card out of life, keep that in mind, but still, really good card to put pressure on your opponent with, for sure, with the damage too. 4k BP, so you can't block a ton with it versus the 5k, but still really strong. And then the sight card for the deck, you're definitely going to want to run this, or I don't even think it's possible really to play the 8 cost. I guess with all double energy generators you can, but regardless, 6 cost basement. If you have a key to the basement card in your sideline, reduce this card's required energy by 2 in your hand, making it cost only 4. And then when played, you get to draw a card and sideline 1 card. And the best part, it's a triple energy generator. So with this card, now you're only short 5 energy, hopefully a little bit easier to get off. Or if you have 2 of these, you can play your Eren Yeager 6 cost straight up or something. However you want to do it, pretty good sight card with the add to hand trigger as well. And we've got other cards that kind of like snowball into hopefully finding this card easily. Yeah, like this key to the basement card here, which is going to be a 2 cost, and it's actually going to be the other color trigger for the set, so another like sort of indicator as to which is going into which deck. But yeah, 2 cost key to the basement. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 basement or inheritor of the Titan affinity card among them. Add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then if you actually revealed a 6 or more base required energy card with this, you get to choose one of your action points and switch it to active. So you're essentially trying to find your Titans or your the basement with this card, and then you get to actually search those out for free, essentially. So yeah, really, really nice card here, as long as you're getting the free search, of course. And then we've got 1 cost Grisha, Eren's dad. When played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 red character with Eren Yeager in its name, or up to 1 key to the basement card among them and add it to your hand. Bottom deck the rest in any order, and then you do have to sideline a card in order to do this. 1500 BP, yeah, not a bad search card. And again, you can sort of get the snowball of like finding the key and then getting the basement and then hopefully getting the Titans out as soon as possible. I think that's essentially the overall goal, is to ramp up that energy. Now, it is going to suck searching out your cards with this guy, finding the basement cards, and then searching like for the key and then seeing this guy or something. Like, yeah, he is inheritor of the Titan actually though, so you will be able to at least find him and grab him with the key to the basement card. But yeah, it will be annoying if you find the basement with him but without a key. So funny how they've got it set up. But yeah, that's basically it. It all goes together. And then we also have this Eren Kruger card here, 0 cost, inheritor of the Titan. Interesting card, 0 cost, active main, switch to resting, sideline this card. Then you can only use this ability if Grisha is on your field. Draw 2 cards and then place 1 card from your hand into the sideline. So a free draw 2 trash 1 at some point, and he's just your 0 energy ramp up. He's a 2k BP as well, which isn't terrible. Not a bad 0 at all. Again, the Titan deck's going to have a little nice nicheness to it. And then we've got the 0 cost Carla Yeager. This is the generic. You can have her generate 2 for the turn, but then she goes to the sideline. Again, with the big Titan cost cards we're trying to play, could be a good card to have in as a 0. Not necessary, but wouldn't be a terrible idea. And then 3 cost Zoe. When played, if you have an inheritor of the Titan Affinity card on your field, draw a card straight up. So yeah, when played, draw basically with the double energy generator active trigger. Feel like she's going to be pretty much a must run in the Titan deck for sure. And then the special for the Titan deck, 5 cost, 2 action point, Hardened Punch. If there's a character with Eren Yeager in its name on your field, this card is only a 1 action point to play. Choose 1 character with 5k or less BP on your opponent's frontline and sideline it. Then you get to choose 1 of your Eren Yeager attack Titans on the field. It gains if your opponent sidelines this character with a special ability, they add the card with the special ability to their hand instead until the end of the turn. Or in less words, basically making your Eren Yeager Titan cards unable to be sidelined with special triggers for the turn. So could be really good. I mean, again, it's just your special card, and then it's also on top of that protection for your attackers. Great card. Obviously, you want to run it only in the Titan deck, really. Special trigger. So yeah, really, really good card to have. And then, of course, the final for the set, Dedicate Your Heart, restand 2 of your action points for the cost of 1. And yeah, that is the entire red Attack on Titan set. Again, I don't know about the Titan deck. I'm going to have to do a lot more looking into it, a lot more playtesting and building. Because playing the whole game to try to get this 8 cost out, I think the gimmick with it is, if you get like the perfect draws, if you get the Exodia play, you top deck like crazy, you could probably get the Titans out really fast. And they're both damage 2s. Maybe once you're at 3 life, swinging for 2 already. Double attacker, essentially damage 2. Like these decks could put on a lot of pressure. But yeah, that is every red Attack on Titan card. I'm really excited for the set. Curious if the Eren Yeager Attack Titan deck is going to be runnable, if it's going to be more gimmicky than anything, because there are going to be some games where you get this 8 cost and the 6 cost out consistently and maybe even faster than you realize, really pressuring your opponent and could be terrifying. But I do think the 104th Cadet Corps deck, where you're kind of board flooding with the omnidirectional movement gear, it's just going to be a lot funner too. I mean, they're both going to be fun, but I think this one's going to stand out a lot more with the really good raid cards, the removal, the 5 attacks potentially that this deck could have or more. Yeah, I think it's going to stand out for sure. But yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know if you're going to be building any of these decks. Appreciate you guys watching, getting this far. If you did, drop a like and subscribe, all that good stuff if you enjoyed. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.